And welcome in everybody to Fryman here, King Pepe II, bringing you the latest Fiend Hunter Boss, the true Orochi Light Boss Elemental type. So before we get things started, if you're new to my channel, welcome on in. If you're also new to Brown Desk 2, good to have you. If you like my guides for anything from Guild Raid bosses to Fiend Hunter bosses to just covering content and live streams, so-and-so, etc., then I got you. Like, subscribe, and let's hit it. Okay, so to start off, we're going to look at teams. You know how I usually do, right? We look at teams, look at gear. But if you want to skip ahead to like the actual rotations and all that good stuff, then you're more than welcome to. I'll have a timestamp below as well, just so it's easier for you guys to just go straight to like the turns and all that, okay? Because I explain it as I go along, okay? But let's see here then. Okay, so first team, okay? I have Rafithia, Liberta, Lanier, Luvencia, and Blade. Second team, I have Grenadier. Sorry, took me a moment. Recording this very late, mind you. But I have Grenadier, Mamonir, Wilhelmina, Celia, and Sonia. Okay, so now, technically, you can actually use Seer for this, okay, because of her augmentation ability. And also because of her idle ability as well, to restore SP. Because this boss actually does require a lot of SP. In my opinion, it does. So I would highly recommend, you know, you have your units built, surrounded around, you know, their cost SP reductions if they have any of those skills. Okay, just look in their skill tree and see if they do. Okay, I highly recommend that. Okay, okay, guys. So let's look then into, and also regarding Seer, almost forgot. What I did, because I actually tested this out, okay, with multiple teams. Seer, I put in place of Mamonir only, and I left everybody else on team 2. That's what I did, and it worked out great. Okay, I'm pretty sure even if you were to put... Well, actually, I don't know. See, here's the thing about this. So, Mamonir technically doesn't have, like, as much, you know... How should I say? Like, she's really, really important for Magic team builds, right? And for chain stacking. It's just that at the moment, since she does not have a second costume... And you can't rotate, you know, you can't rotate another costume in for her, right? I wouldn't say she's ineffective, but she's at the moment lacking more power. I guess that's really the best way I can put it. So that's why I put Seer in place of Mamonir. You know, if you don't have like Mamonir, let's just say for example, just put Seer in, okay? You know, business Seer, right? And if you also have Idle Seer, she'll also help you restore SP points as well, because like I said, this boss does require you to use a lot of SP, in my opinion, it does. But yeah. Deanna... Okay, so here's the thing also with Deanna. Now, why is Deanna not on any of these teams? Okay, so... Honestly, I didn't see Deanna as much... Like, I'm going to put her on my third team when I do the higher levels, mind you guys. Okay, I'm going to put her on my third team. But I actually didn't really use her for the level 10 boss. I didn't really see she was necessary. Considering that this boss is really... giving you chain reinforcement bonuses for from its skills. I really didn't see a must to have her. I mean, you can run her if you don't have like, let's say another like another supporter, right? You can use her, but I don't really see her for this team at least. I know it's surprising to say that. I get it, but you'll see when I get into it though. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the gear now. Okay, we're gonna talk about gear. So gear-wise, since this is a physical damage type boss, you're going to be rocking, obviously, the Invulnerable Armor, Tier 4, and the Helm of Carnage, Tier 4 gear. Okay, guys, Tier 4 gear, all around with this one. Okay, so that's what I did for my supporters. Rafithia, I'll say it as I always do in every single video. If you do not have her, well, if you don't have any exclusive gears, I'll cover them. But for Rafithia, if you do not have her exclusive gear, you can literally just use Invulnerable Armor, okay? In all honesty, this actually gives you more defense. Okay, if anything, it gives you more defense than her exclusive. I know that you can switch these back and forth in refinement now, right? Ever since that new update happened a while back. You can use magic resistance, defense. But Invulnerable Armor actually adds more defense. So like I said, you're not going to have an issue with it, even if you don't have her exclusive gear, okay? Now, as for all the rest of their gear, literally... just put something on them because they're just there to support you and they just need to survive. Okay? Same thing goes for Grenadier, okay, as well down here, okay? So, that's really it for supporters. Now, we're going to talk about our DPS units and our sub-DPS. Okay, so Invulnerable Armor, Tier 4. Helm of Carnage, Tier 4, as always. Okay, Elenir, she is going to be rocking along with basically everybody that you see here. Other than Celia and Sonya. That is only if you don't have their exclusive gears. But let me just say for the fact that for Team 1, Elenir, going to be rocking the Venomous Touch, Tier 4. God King Silver Arm, Tier 4. Or you can also use the Gauntlet one. Keep forgetting that name off the top of my head. What is it called again? This one right here. You can either use this one too. The Prime Authority, Tier 4. Okay? So either one works for Elenir. Okay? Exclusive weapon. If you do not have it, I got you. You can just substitute it for, you know, as I call it, the Dragon Sword or Thor's Hammer. Really doesn't matter which one. And I'll show you what they look like again here. So here's Thor's Hammer, as I call it, because that's actually what I could just call it. The Hammer of Thunder, so you would rock a Tier 4. Gives you a flat stat of attack and percentage number of attack as well. And even the Dragon Sword, the Evil Dragon's Blade, okay, if you're going to be technical. Tier 4, obviously, it gives you some flat stat of attack and some crit damage percentage numbers, okay? You can also rock, you know, the Spear here or the Peerless Javelin, Tier 4. However, it gives you 2 flat stats as its basic attributes. If that's the case, you would just basically surround yourself with percentage numbers for attack just to balance it out, okay, on your other gear. Okay, just keep that in mind. But yeah, so always balance it depending on your gear builds or even their skill builds, okay, from the other costumes. As for bonding, I used, let's see. Now, obviously, this is going to be different for everybody, and especially if you're a newer player and you don't have a lot of costumes unlocked, you don't have to worry too much about it. In time, you'll unlock them. Trust me on that. Okay, you'll unlock them in time. But as of right now, I am using I'm using my Piercing Magic Bow Bond effect. I need a little bit more flat stat, so that's why I'm using it. I get 80 flat stat and crit damage percentage, which is a really high number here, by the way, 75.60%. Okay. And obviously, if you needed more percentage numbers, right, and let's just say your gear was built around flat stat of attack more so, then obviously you would be rocking either Be Idle Helena or even Shadow Bunny, okay? In all honesty, out of all 3 of these, I would recommend either Be Idle Helena or Piercing Bow. I'm not saying Shadow Bunny isn't good, it's just that you're not technically gaining a lot from the HP itself, other than the attack percentage, so that's why I'm saying that, okay? And then going back to the gear, obviously always look at your bonds. It'll tell you straight away which one has basically more of percentages based off of flat stats. So in this case, her 2 costumes here, it looks like she's rocking percentage numbers highly, and the flat stat is only having 1 costume with this. So that means you would basically be focusing a little bit more than on your gear with flat stat. Does that make sense? Just to make up for the percentage, just to balance that out. Okay? Because, example-wise, if you look at her gear right here, you see how her attack is 2890. So if I go ahead and I do this, right? Let's just say I do this, right? So it's 2890, correct? I switch it, right? It goes down to 2752. So you see what I mean by that? You have to balance it out. So always look at the bond stats and then just, you know, build your sub-stats basically off what these say. Make sense? So there you go. And that goes, you know, the same for any builds you do. Even including your supporters, okay? Okay, now, but yeah, so Luvencia, I have her exclusive gear, same thing, either rock either of those other, you know, UR crafted gear, okay? For if you don't have it. She's rocking the same gear, Venomous Touch, for the accessory, and then I picked God King's Silver Arm, Tier 4, but you can also use Prime Authority as well. Blade is the same build as well, okay? They literally have the same builds. Okay, just at the end, it's up to you to decide because of your gear and substats and what you need to balance out. That's what it comes down to, okay, guys? As for Luvencia's bond, right? I ended up picking her Wild Dog one, more so, because I actually do have her pretty balanced between like percentage and flat stat. So I was like, you know what? I might as well just do another balance type, you know? In all honesty, I don't think it would matter as much, but seeing as how I'm getting some percentage, you see how, like, I have flat stat for attack and attack percentage, and then some crit damage percentage. This one, for Deal Snatcher, you're only getting defense, and since her defense is already high enough to pass this, you know, in higher levels, I don't really need it. So that's why I chose Wild Dog. Make sense? And another thing I actually didn't notice was that Wild Dog actually has four stats in her bond. I actually never noticed that until now. Because she's also gaining darkness damage. So, yeah, isn't that crazy? I'm not sure if that's a glitch or something, but I noticed this for quite a while now. I had no idea about this, mind you. I actually found this out recently. But yeah, so I would choose Wild Dog then, okay? But I mean, if this is a glitch, then that then has to be addressed. But I don't know, like, that's actually what I was, like, looking at that one day. I was like, wait a second, what? Obviously, I play fair, guys, okay? But yeah, that actually, I didn't know that. I'm not sure if other costumes have, like, 4. But yeah, that was wild, right? It was very wild for Wild Dog. I know, I'm funny. Okay, so for Blade, okay, so Blade's bond really didn't matter too much with what she was rocking with. Okay, so you see how her gear is 2807 for me at least. So I actually did experiment with this, and there really wasn't a huge difference in damage. So at first, I actually had her Onsen one, right? I had the Onsen one for my girl Blade here equipped, right? And even though it's 66.20% for attack percentage and crit damage is 47.20%, right? And then when I went to check out Young Lady Blade, it didn't really make much of a difference. I mean, it didn't. The reason why I didn't use Apostle is because it has defense stats, and I would have preferred to just have, you know, something a little extra here. And since she doesn't have a lot of health to begin with, I was like, you know what, let me just put some health on her as well. But that's what I did for this. And in this case, this boss is a light elemental, so I just added more percentage-wise. But like I said, again, it didn't make a huge difference with damage numbers. At least for me, it didn't with my gear build. It might maybe make a difference for others out there, depending on their gear. But I would choose either one of these two, okay, for it, in my opinion. Okay? That's what I would do. Because, like, if you look at my gear real quick again, right? So, like, her attack is 2807, correct? So I go here. I'll equip this. So, right, it was 2807. So it goes up 2893. So not much of a difference. And the only thing I really lost was, like, 30% more darkness damage. But like I said, it's not a huge deal breaker. Okay? So, like, it doesn't really matter all that much. At least in my case, it didn't. But I just want to let you guys know that. Okay? Now, as for the second team, same thing with the supporters, like I said in the beginning. Same gear build as, like, Liberta and Rafithia. Okay? If you don't have their exclusive gears, just craft it. Invulnerable armor tier 4. Okay? Okay, so Malmenier, obviously, she based, or her power is scaled off of her health, right? So, for Malmenier, I equipped the Immortal Golden Armor tier 4. Because obviously defense percentages and her HP percentage for this one, right? Okay, so substat wise, now this actually is important. This is very important. So substat wise, you actually do want to have crit damage numbers for this. It's the best way, in my opinion, to have this. Now I know that technically she does give herself some critical damage percentage. I get that, but it never really hurts to add some more, I guess, in her case, because like she really only focuses on what, health and crit damage percentage. That's really it, you know. So, it didn't really make that much of a difference in my eyes, and since this technically, for me at least, was the highest gear build I had with it, I just used it. Okay, Helm of Death, tier 4, same thing, it had defense, percentage numbers, and HP percentage. Okay, so that's what I used. Make sense? And then, as for accessory, I used the Charming Gaze, tier 4, gave me critical damage percentage numbers and HP percentage, and my substats just happen to be 2 flat stats of HP and 1 percentage number for, crit damage. Okay, percentage number. And then I use Ring of Fury, tier 4. Now, magic attack percentage isn't really do much for her. It was really only for the crit rate, if anything. And then, as for the substats, I just kind of, you know, was just going for either two of these. HP percentage, HP flat stat, or crit damage percentage. So, it just happened to work out that way for me. Okay? If you do not have her exclusive gear, do not worry about that. I did not mean to click on her there. But, if you do not have her exclusive gear, you can just literally rock. I mean, it's not really going to make much of a difference. The thing with this is because since she focuses on, you know, her health being what her damage is scaled off of, You can literally just equip any of these, you know, in this case. Demon's Forbidden Book, tier 4. Eye of the Destroyer, tier 4. Or the Travel God's Friend, tier 4. I think if anything, you would rock this one since it does have critical damage percentage on it. And then from there, you would just base off all the substats, either in health percentage, health flat stat, or something with critical damage percentage numbers. But if anything, it would most likely just be health, because you're going to be having a lot of crit damage to begin with in the first place, since she does give herself, you know, depending on how much you've enhanced her, a great deal of percentage for crit damage percentage-wise, okay? Does that make sense? So that's what I would personally do about that. But yeah, until we get another, like, costume release of her, which I know in the future we are going to, you can really only use one bond of hers, which is this one, the Night of Death. So that's what I would do with it, okay? So there you have it with Mamonir. And then everybody else, more or less, is the same, you know, when it comes to their builds. With Helmina, however, I equipped the Prime Authority because I choose to have more attack numbers on her instead of crit damage percentage. Like, I have crit damage percentage, but I really didn't focus as much strongly with it. And she still hits like a truck. So I have her balanced out with that. Invulnerable Armor, tier 4. Obviously, always go for this one, right? And then Helm of Carnage, tier 4 as well. So there you have it. Venomous Touch, tier 4. Always do that one. Same thing. No exclusive gear. Just craft it. You know, either using any of those other three. But personally, I would choose the Javelin or the or Thor's Hammer, basically. I would either choose two of those, to be honest with you. Because they have, like, flat stats of attack. And then the Hammer has one flat stat of attack and then 1% of attack. Okay? Now, as for our magic users here, so Sonya and Celia. Okay, so for this one, obviously you're going to be rocking the Invulnerable Armor, tier 4, but instead, their substats, I would highly recommend being critical damage percentage, just because you cannot have any magic on these types of armor, since they're physical types, okay? Same thing with Sonya's. You're going to want to have critical damage percentage numbers on them as well, okay? And then everything else is basically, now I have her exclusive gear, and all honesty, this could be changed to some magic, to be honest, because that's a lot of crit. She doesn't need all that crit. But yeah, however, it worked for me in this case, but I'm going to change that later down the line. But yeah, if you don't have her exclusive gear, don't worry about that. Venomous Touch literally is your way to go then with this. And then you just change, like, for example, with this here, you just change it to, like, magic instead of that being attack. This would be, like, magic, right? Magic flat stat or magic percentage. In case you don't have her exclusive gear for Celia. Okay? Shackle of Treachery, tier 4, I used instead. Okay? Obviously, she doesn't need that much crit. But I don't have the resources at the moment to change this. So, if anything, instead of magic, instead of critical damage percentage, just balance it out based off of her stats for her bondage. Okay? Or her bonds. Okay? So, like, yeah, she doesn't need all this crit, mind you. But, like, yeah. So you would look at her flat stats of magic or percentage numbers. You would take that into account. So she has more percentage numbers with 2 of her costumes. So that tells you right away, yet again, like, okay, so I could add a little bit more flat stat for magic in her other gear. Makes sense? That's what you would do. And in this case, I use Masquerade Bunny for myself in this case. Okay, because these already had, like, this had, like, defense and magic resistance. This has darkness damage, so I chose to do it this way instead. Okay? That's what I chose, at least. Because this is a light elemental boss, okay? So that's what I would choose. If you have Masquerade Bunny, that is unlocked, that is. If not, then you would just do the Witcher... Oh, the Witcher, my god. You would do the Curse Celia bond instead, since it does have defense percentage on it. But there's really only... That's the only difference with the other ones. Is it has defense percentage, okay? But yeah, that's what I would do if you don't have Masquerade Bunny, okay? Gear-wise, Demon's Forbidden Book, tier 4. I rocked this because, like I said, I needed some more flat stat on her for magic, and so that's what I did. And then I just basically balanced out the substats based off of how much I had of what. Okay? So percentage, and then flat stat here for 2 of them. Sonya. Sonya can literally use either the Travel God's Friend, or you can also use Demon's Forbidden Book, tier 4, or the, what was that other one? The Eye of the Destroyer, tier 4, which has a flat stat of magic and a flat, and a percentage magic, okay? Always balance it out based off of your gear. I'll always say that again. If you do not have her exclusive gear, use the Venomous Touch. As always, just balance it around, you know, what she needs more of. Magic, or more flat side of magic, or percentage. I use Chocolate Treachery, tier 4 for this one. Okay? And like I said, an alternative for this one would be if you do need a little bit more balance with it. Fear not. All you would then need is this one, which is the Dragon Scales Protection tier 4. Because it has a balance of flat stat with magic as well. You see that? So yeah, either gears work with it. Just work with what you got. For Sonia's Bond, I ended up using... I think it was... Yeah. It was your Shadow Dream. Okay? Because Little Pumpkin Girl Sonia only has a magic resistance and HP. In this case, that's not really going to work. So I wanted her to be used as a DPS unit, so that's why I chose Shadow Dream instead. Gives you magic attack percentage and darkness percentage number against the Orochi. Okay? So that's the deal. That's the builds for the gear-wise. Now let's head on in to the actual match. Okay? Yeah, I know. I passed it. Okay, here we go. It's not a really, like, complicated boss. So let's just take a look at here. Formation-wise, this is a formation that you actually would start off with your team one here, okay? So, we look at the attack. So this is basically what you're going to be activating first. Instead of its skill being used, you know, its basic skills over here, these don't provide you with anything. Conditional skills, we read it, Shed Skin. Activate the skill if there are at least 5 chains stacked on any part. Really easy to reach, by the way. This is why I said this is going to be like the first skill that it activates. The skill activates a maximum of 1 time per team in battle. Deals 2956 physical damage to the enemy equal to 320% of your attack. Apply 1 chain reinforcement to the enemy for 10 turns. And increase the enemy's property damage by 100% for 10 turns. So, in this case, you're going to be wanting basically all your DPS units in the middle here. See that? Attacks the middle. So, basically, Elenir, Luvencia, and later are going to be in the front. That's just how it's going to be. Okay? Or in the middle, basically. Okay? They're really not going to move. Actually, they're not going to move at all from this spot. Like, none of your units in this boss fight, they're actually not going to move at all. They're going to be in the same position the entire fight. I'm not joking. Okay? When it comes to the on-field formation. Okay, its second skill here. Activate the skill if there are at least 15 chains stacked on any part. This skill activates a maximum 1 time per team in battle. Attack the enemy 3 times, dealing 924 physical damage equal to 100% of your attack per hit. Apply 1 chain reinforcement to the enemy for 8 turns, so it gives you even more chain reinforcement. And then its third skill here, conditional-wise, is the Heavy Despair. Activate the skill if there are at least 30 chains stacked on any part, which is very easy to reach, by the way. You'll see why. This skill activates a maximum of 1 time per team in battle. Apply 10% increase the chain damage taken to all parts for 6 turns. Apply 1 stack of an effect to all parts that increase attack by 50% for 20 turns. This can increase to a maximum of 3 stacks, so very effective. If you want to do the math on that, go right ahead. Because all I know is it does a lot of damage when you, when your turn comes up at that, point. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, right? Rafithia, we're going to be activating her, poolside one. Now, mind you, I'm going to base this video off of my stats, okay? Everyone's is going to be very different, mind you guys, okay? I'm just going to be talking about it. Okay, so for Rafithia here, she's going to activate basically property damage increase by 50% for 8 turns. In this case, since none of these units are light property. Apply 1 SP cost reduction to the allies for 8 turns. This is a big help, by the way, in this fight. Or for your first team, at least, it is. Okay, so you're going to activate that first. Then, for Liberta, you're going to be activating her Dark Saintess ability. She's going to restore SP to allies, or 3 SP points to allies. Ally attack is increased by 115% for 4 turns. Ally crit rate is increased by 50% for 4 turns. So you're going to be activating that next. Elenir, you're going to be activating her Bunny ability. Okay, your attack is increased by 40% for 10 turns. That's for Elenir, however, okay? But you're going to create a domain on the battlefield for 10 turns, increasing allies' attack or magic attack by 60%. Based on their attack type. Based on their attack type, apply a 50% vulnerability to the enemy as well. So, very, very big help on this one, by the way. This will help us a lot. Luvencia, you're going to be activating her Deal Snatcher ability. Okay. And then Blade, you're going to be activating her Young Lady Blade ability to apply 150% vulnerability physical to the main target enemy for 4 turns. Okay? Reason why you're activating this one first is because it's going to help you greatly later down the line when you get to a certain point, which, you know, obviously I'll showcase. Okay? Make sure that Rafithia is highlighting everybody on the field, so everybody gains that SP cost reduction. Okay? And then just start the match. Turn-based wise, when this is over, it'll either, I think it'll be like, the highest one that I reached was like 23 turns. You can even end it before then, depending on what your stats are like with tier-wise. Okay, if you have a lot of S-tier gear on, you should be ending this match very, very soon. Then like 23. Like, for real, you should be. Okay? Now, if we're looking at the second team, or the third turnaround here, you're going to activate Rafithia's ability for Glutus. You're going to be giving ally crit damage percentage for 6 turns by 125%, and also you're going to be restoring 5 SP, which is very important, in fact, more so. Activate Liberta's Onsen to now activate her augmentation, right, for the chain stacking here. And then Elenir, okay, so very important, by the way, when you do this. So for Elenir, you're going to activate Elenir's idle ability first, okay? You're going to move her down here, put Levencia here in 3rd place. Activate her Wild Dog ability, have Elenir next for her idle ability, and then you're going to activate Apostle. My god, my mind. Blade, then next. I'm sorry. Okay, so after that, it'll activate its second ability coming up. Conditional-wise, the bosses. So you already got it now. Like I said, it's very easy to reach chain. Or to reach the chain damage numbers on this one. That's why I said, like, I didn't really feel Deanna was needed for these two teams. But when you get to the higher, levels, obviously you're going to be putting her on a team. Okay, so Rafithia, now you're going to be getting some bigger numbers here. So activate Rafithia's Bridal ability here, okay? Next, you're going to activate again Dark Saintess ability for Liberta. Then you're going to be activating Levencia again for Deal Snatcher. You're going to activate Elenir's Piercing Bow. And then you're going to activate the... Okay, so this is why I said you're going to be needing this again. This is why I said to activate it first. So you're going to activate Young Lady Blade because the follow-up basically is going to be this one right here with its... when it activates its 3rd conditional skill. Okay? So you're going to apply vulnerability again to the enemy because then you're going to be attacking with Onsen Blade. And since Onsen Blade does more damage with, each debuff on the enemy, that's why you're going to be activating this. Does that make sense? Okay, so after that, make sure everybody's highlighted still and just start it. Okay, so you see all those debuffs? Very nice. And you're going to be activating another debuff with Eleanor Idle again, or Idle Oh my god, Eleanor. I know, she's on my mind, right? But you're going to be activating another debuff again with Idle Elenir, okay? So instead, it's going to be having 4 debuffs, okay? So that's why I said. The way you activate this is actually very, very important, okay? So activate Bridal Rafithia again. Liberta's under cooldown, so just put her up here so she can attack the middle. Levencia, activate Wild Dog, activate Idle Elenir, and then you're going to be activating Onsen Blade. Okay? Everything checks out. So a lot of damage, right? A lot of damage. Okay, and then everything else, you just basically play it the way it is. So you're no longer going to be activating Rafithia's poolside one. Okay? So just use Glutus, Rafithia, activate Dark Saintess Liberta, and just basically, just activate it like this. I usually put Apostle Blade before Young Lady Blade. I attack last with Young Lady Blade. It's up to you. It really doesn't matter which one you use. At this point, you just want to, have that set up, which is what I showed you. Make sense? And this also gives you a lot more SP now with your team too. After this one, at least. Okay? So, this is what you would do to end it. And then that's your first wave, so to say. There you go. So right off the bat, you, depending on what your gear is, let's just say if you're around where I'm at, it's a 25% HP basically, okay? Now, second team-wise, you're going to be setting it up like this basically. So let me just put everybody in order here, okay? So you're going to have all 4 basically of your DPS units here and sub-DPS in the middle. They're all going to get hit by this. Necessarily, the only ones that are going to be really effective with this attack are going to be Celia and Sonya, since technically they are gaining property damage increase against the light elemental from its shed scan ability. Make sense? So Grenadier, you're going to activate her her Shrine Maiden ability, get that augmentation up, right? And then Mamonir, you're going to activate her ability next. Wilhelmina, you're going to activate her Iron Monarch ability. And then I'm not actually going to activate Celia or Sonya. I'm going to save their attack because once I get the buff, right, from its conditional skill, that's when I'll start to use their skills. Does that make sense? So, there you have it. Okay, there you have it. There you go. Okay, so Celia, she now has some Dark Elementals, so there you have it. If you want to double check, just double check. And since Mamonir and Wilhelmina, they're water types, it's not really going to matter too much with property damage, but they did receive, you know, Chain Reinforcement. Now, its second ability here is going to activate again. Now, the thing is, you don't need Wilhelmina to have this second one, just so you know that, because she's already going to activate her own here, which is this one, right? Her what's it called? Her, basically her bikini ability, as I call it. Short to say that. Okay? Her Splash Queen, bikini ability is going to activate. Okay? So, you're going to okay, so right now, actually, this is what I did, at least. This is actually what I did. You can either activate this now, or you can activate it after. Okay? Just to gain this ability, and then use Grenadier's, magic, or you can just do it now. Regardless, you're going to be activating this again right afterwards, so it's not going to make much of a difference. So you can do it now or later. Okay? Mamonir attack with. Okay? Wilhelmina, you're going to attack with now with her, with her Splash Queen. My god, I can't talk tonight. Her Splash Queen skill, and then, okay, and then as for Celia, you're going to use her Bunny ability. If you don't have her Bunny ability, that's okay. You can just rock her the Curse, okay? You'll just have 2 costumes at this point, though. But I'm going to activate her Masquerade Bunny one, okay? And then as for Sonya, I'm going to activate her Shadow Dream ability. Because she's going to now apply Dark Vulnerability because of the condition that's met here. So basically it says that this attack results in the enemy having a chain count of 6 or more. She applies a 175% Dark Vulnerability for 4 turns instead. So that's why I'm activating it. Does that make sense? So with that being said, let it rip here, right? This, do that, do that. Okay, there you have it. If you look at it, it has Dark Vulnerability on it, right? Increase incoming dark damage. Okay, so right now, Mamonir is under cooldown time. That's okay. Because you're just going to be ending the fight a lot sooner now. So with Celia, I personally used the Curse first. And then I used Sonya's Pumpkin Girl ability next. Okay? To be honest with you, I would use this one. Her, the Descendant of the Great Witch, Celia. Because for the next turn, once it activates this, Since this does have a higher chain count, which is attack the enemy 7 times instead of 5 times, that's why I personally used it. And then I followed it up with Sonya's Shadow Dream right after that. Does that make sense? That's why I'm not... and also because Wahomina's Splash Queen ability is under cooldown time, and which is what I use next. Does that make sense? Now, even though Mamonir is not going to have her transformation ability activated, that's okay. You don't have to worry about that. Because you're going to be activating this right afterwards. You'll see what I mean by this, okay? So don't worry too much about it. Okay, there you have it. Okay, so now that I activated all of its, you know, conditional skills, you just kind of just basically do what you need to do. Make sense? So do that, and then do that. Right? Okay, so we're on turn 21 right now. So more or less, this actually should just end the battle. So do this, do this. If not, you can just end it on the next turn. Yeah, I'll just end it on the next turn. So that's really it. So I hope this guide helped you guys out, and if you can use it as a reference, then by all means do so. But with that being said, guys, I know that technically I didn't show you with Seer's build, but it really is, you know, very simple with Seer's build as well. It's not complicated either. You just replace Seer with Mamonir, right? And you more or less do the same sort of setup that I just did with, like, everybody here in turn order. Okay? So it looks like Elenir did the most damage out of my entire team here with this one. Sonya at times did it as well. But, like, it is what it is. It's okay. Like, it doesn't matter. I passed the boss. But yeah, Elenir in this case actually did a lot more damage. Okay? But there you have it, guys. So hope this helped you guys out again. And I'll catch you all in the next, which is going to be the live stream, actually, in fact. So I'll see you then. So good luck. If you're going to be pulling for Sonya, because technically she's in the banner currently right now, then do so. I recommend it. You can still, like, wait for her to be put into the Powder of Hope shop. And, you know, if you didn't use your Golden Thread yet in the Golden Thread shop, you can use technically that to either enhance her, okay, as well. But, I don't know. That's up to you. But I would highly recommend going for Sonya as well, okay? Just because of the fact that she can also just add, you know, vulnerability to the enemy, magic or physical, right? And her cooldown time is literally like every single turn, right? So it's like 3 turns. It's a 3 cooldown count, right? But that's my opinion. But you have at it, okay? I'll catch you all in the next, guys. Take care.